Hey folks, it's Keith, Victor Echo 3 Sierra Victor Quebec, back today with another quick blog looking at, the progress made in learning Morse code. Now I did a video probably about a month ago, and I said I was going to try and get back into it and I would report on progress and what I learned as I went. So in a way, this is sort of an update if you want. Now, learning Morse code, any of us who did it back in the day, if you want to say that. My license was 1990-91. Learning Morse code then was compulsory, and of course they've now done away with it. However, there's a whole world out there of contacts if you know Morse, and it's become very, very popular all of a sudden. A lot of people are learning it, many for the first time, some like me going back over and trying to relearn it. And this is what essentially I've been into for the last little while, and it's been a lot of fun. And for me to say Morse code is fun, that's something, because I absolutely hated learning it. Now, there are ways you can do it. I'm going to show you two. There's one, which is the one that I'll demonstrate on my computer shortly, which is the LWTO.net. And this is one, it's a free site. You just have to go in, you register. If you have a call sign, you can use your call sign. If you don't have, you're not licensed, you don't have a call sign, you don't need one. But you can go in and you can practice and you can learn and you can sort of do it pretty much at your own speed. Now they have a formula that they use, which is, learning basically the characters at 20 words per minute and the gap between words, if you want, or the speed for the words at about 15 words per minute. And this is very modern. This is not something that I would have learned, all right, when I first started. And for those of us who sort of sat through all of that horrible Morse code back in the 1990s, this would be quite an eye-opener. But it's an excellent site. I did quite a bit of it, learning on it, and got used to it, got used to the speed, and it was really good. And there's another site, which is the Long Island Morse Code Club. Another excellent site. And I'll show you that one, at least the outline of it. Now, it's a site where you pay a membership fee, $30 a year. But what a difference. Now, they start you now at character speed of 12 words per minute, the word speed at about 8, and they build you up and build you up and build you up. And eventually, if you want to go as high as 20 or 30 words per minute, they can do that. But what I like about them, excellent instructors. Everything is done by Zoom, and you have a schedule for the week. For instance, I was learning 3 letters today from one of the instructors, about an hour ago. And every class this week, there will be different instructors, but those are the words they're teaching to the beginners. And next week, it'll be another set of words, and so on and so on. So it doesn't matter when you join, you can just start right at the letters they're doing, and they take you through it. Now, because it's done by Zoom, a lot of the instructors come from different countries. I've had instructors from Australia. I've had some from the United Kingdom. Many from the United States. They also do a lot of work on, here's your Morse code key. Which one do you use? What's the recommendation? Do you use a straight key, a paddle, or any of these type of things? And when you've got one, well, here's how you set it up properly. So there's lots of different things that get added in that you can't get when you're just trying to do a site on your own. And they will actually take you right up to the point where you're making your first contact in Morse code, and they will sit with you while you do it. So it's an interesting concept and an interesting way of teaching the code. The other thing with them, when you're in a class, there's people from all over the world with you, everybody learning at the same speed. And for instance, the one I was in today, we had myself from Canada. We had several Americans. We had a couple of people from the United Kingdom, one from England, one from Scotland. We had a Belgian, we had somebody from Finland, and we had an Australian, all in the same class. So it's sort of fun because, you're not alone out there trying to do this on your own. Now, when I started, 1991, we needed, I believe it was 7 words per minute that we had to pass, both sending and receiving. And that simply gave you the option of using the 80-meter band. So if you got your license, you could use 2 meters. If you could do your 7 words a minute, then they allowed you to use 80 meters. And if you could do 12 words a minute or more, then at that point you were allowed to go on to all the different bands. So there was an incentive to do Morse code. But of course, once you got your different categories, and unless you really loved Morse code, you sort of dropped it, which is what I did, and I'm sure thousands of other amateurs as well. Classes were also very brutal. We were taught at 5 words a minute. People would hold up flashcards with dots and dashes on, and we would have to identify what letter it is and so on. So your brain focused on learning the dots and dashes and counting them. Absolutely worst way to learn, and which has now been totally thrown out. Matter of fact, when you start most of these courses, the first thing they tell you is if you have a chart with dots and dashes, toss it away. Because Morse code is like learning a language. You're learning the letters by sound, just as if you were talking to somebody in a foreign language. And very quickly you start to pick up what it is you need to know. Now this video will jump around a little bit because I'm going to be doing different things, so bear with me on that. Some of it might even be a bit shaky if I'm holding the camera. But I'll try and give you an idea as to what I'm doing and what you would be doing in a similar situation if you started back doing this. So here we go. Now this is the LCWO.net site. You can see you've got your login there, have a brief explanation and a welcome, some news, and then down here you'll see some of the people who are on, some of the scores. There's also settings that you can change and everything else. So when you log into that one, what you're going to end up with is this. So this is your page. This is what it looks like when you come in, and then you're going to decide what lesson it is you're going to do. So if you're over here, introduction lessons number 2 to 40, that's your word. So all you got to do is just click on one of those lessons. Now this is being set for the 2015. And if you start, if you want to hear what the characters sound like, now that sounds really fast, and of course it is. And that's how you learn, because you cannot just sit there and go, okay, that was a dot, that's a dash, oh, there's a dash, a dot, a dash. You can't do that and write it down at the same time. It's coming too fast. So you're learning the sounds, and you're learning what that letter sounds like. So, dotty dot, well, okay, that's going to be the letter K, da da, well, that's the letter M, and your ear just gets used to it and your brain starts to compute it. So that's basically the way they do it. They take you through the alphabet, the abbreviations, the numbers, they score you and everything else. So it's pretty straightforward. Now I want you to listen to this one, and this is the speed thousands of people like myself were actually taught at, and it's a very big difference. That'll just about put you to sleep. Now this is the speed that the Long Island Morse Code Club will start you at. Believe it or not, that is actually easier to copy and easier to learn. And in the class today, as an example, we had one lesson where we had to start at, I think it was 20 words a minute, then it dropped down to 15, then it dropped down to 12. And everyone said the same thing. It was easier to copy the letters when they were coming faster. So interesting and very different from what we were taught many years ago. Now, as I mentioned, I would show you the site for the Long Island CW Club. And just look at this. This is their page here. And if you go down, you can see almost 3,500 members in 50 states, 47 countries. And they're teaching 77 classes a week. That's a lot of Morse code, and they are really excellent at what they do. They also have some videos on YouTube, so you can check them out there as well. So that's the update for now. It sort of gives you an idea where I'm at. I actually enjoy it at the characters at 20 words per minute, and then the spacing anywhere from 8 to 12 words a minute, depending on what the exercise is. So there's lots of variations, lots of things to do. It's never boring. And you know, you're only required, or even suggested, it's not required, it's suggested that you do two 10-minute sessions a day. So you can do one in the morning, one at night. That's all you need. But it's the practice is key. So if you're doing this on your own or with either of these two sites, you still have to do a lot of it on your own. You don't have to sit there for hours and hours like we used to learning code. So if you're an old timer like me, it's pretty easy to get back into it, and I suggest you do. In the meantime, that's it for now. Victor Echo 3 Sierra Victor Quebec. Wishing you 73. Have a great day.